Don't miss the tea. Subscribe now.
Girl, grab your drink and sit all the way down, because I am absolutely spiraling right now. No, literally, I am having a full-blown identity crisis in the middle of a Tuesday, and I need you to tell me if I'm actually a terrible person or if everyone around me has just lost their minds. You know Emily, right? My bestie. Well, we are currently in this weird, icy standoff, and honestly, the whole situation has me feeling so attacked. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. So Emily and I were out the other day. Just a normal afternoon, cute vibes. We kept walking and the conversation naturally flowed into school. You know how much I struggle with my engineering classes. It is literal hell on earth. And I started telling Emily something I've thought about 1,000,000 times. I said, you know, sometimes I'm sitting in my engineering lectures, sweating over an exam, and I look around and see these girls who are like top-tier gorgeous. And I just think to myself, damn girl, you could be a model, you could be an actress. If I had a face card that never declined like yours, I would not be sitting here suffering through engineering. I laughed because to me that's funny, it's a compliment. But Emily, she didn't laugh, she stopped walking, dead in her tracks. She turned to me with this look, like this disappointed, judgmental mother look, and she just unleashes. She basically implied that I'm obsessed with looks and that I'm superficial. I was floored when Emily called me superficial. Because you know me, you know my history. I wasn't always this confident baddie you see before you today. My middle school phase, I was the ugly duckling. I was bullied relentlessly for it. I spent years of my life feeling invisible. I didn't get my glow up until way later in high school. Because of that period where I felt like a monster, I admit it, I am hyper-aware of aesthetics. I put a lot of pressure on myself to look a certain way because I never want to feel like that little girl again. But here is the key thing, and this is what I screamed internally at Emily. I never ever drag people. Never. When I comment on appearances, it is always positive. It's always, her eyeliner is sharp, or that guy has a great smile, or she looks like a goddess. So I told Emily this. I said, Emily, I only ever say positive things. I'm just hyping people up. Why is that a bad thing? And she hits me with this philosophy 101 nonsense. She argues that even if it's positive, the fact that I'm constantly pointing out pretty people means I'm inadvertently reinforcing the idea that beauty is the most important thing. She thinks I'm part of the problem. So the vibe was ruined. We went home and I was feeling so misunderstood. Later that night, I was still stewing on it, so I decided to call my mom. Big mistake. Huge. I thought my mom would be on my side about the fight with Emily. Instead, my mom latches onto the engineering comment and decides to roast me too. She told me she took issue with me saying, if I look like you, I wouldn't be doing engineering. She starts giving me this lecture about how what matters isn't what a person looks like, but what they give to society. She basically went on a rant saying that being an engineer is better and more noble. I was like, Mom, are you serious right now? I completely disagreed with her. I pointed out that people in the media, actors, models, influencers, have massive platforms. They can actually change culture. And let's be real, there are plenty of engineers who work for oil companies making the world worse. But my mom just wasn't hearing it. She thinks I'm devaluing my own profession. I tried to explain my actual point to her. It wasn't about moral worth. It was about difficulty. Engineering is hard. It is depressing. It is 4 years of no sleep. My point was simply, if you have model-tier looks, you have access to a completely different career path. If I looked like Kendall Jenner, do you think I'd be stressing about fluid dynamics? Absolutely not. I'd be on a yacht in Monaco, and that's just honesty. But my mom completely shut me down. She called me shallow and said I was devaluing my own intelligence. So now, my best friend thinks I'm a superficial monster, and my own mother thinks I'm a vain idiot. So now I'm sitting here, and I feel like I'm fighting a war on 2 fronts. Emily thinks I'm obsessed with looks and contributing to the downfall of feminism or whatever. My mom thinks I'm a sellout who values vanity over real work. And I'm just here like, am I the only person living in reality? I don't think being pretty makes you a better person than anyone else. But we live in a society. Pretty privilege is a real thing. It changes how the world treats you. Acknowledging that doesn't make me a villain, does it? The way Emily looked at me. It really got under my skin. It made me feel like she thinks I'm vapid. And that hurts because I am an engineering student. I am smart. I do the work. But just because I'm smart doesn't mean I have to be blind to beauty. I feel like because of my past, because I was the ugly girl who got made fun of, I'm allowed to appreciate the glow up. I'm allowed to look at someone and say, damn, she is winning, without it being a deep psychological flaw. But maybe they're right. Maybe I do talk about it too much, so give it to me straight. Am I the asshole here? Is it toxic to say, hey, you're too pretty for this hard-ass job? Or are my friend and my mom just taking everything way too seriously? Because right now I feel like I need to apologize for having eyes and I am over it.